Jitambue binti na mwana wa mama Afrika. Amka, kumepambazuka. Twende nami, PrincekategaII.
Hello, welcome, daughters and sons of Mother Africa. This is Dr. PrincekategaII. Yeah, I'm your friend who always talks about issues which matter in Africa. It's about changing the mindset of us Africans, how we see things, how we view issues. I'm speaking from Bagamoyo, at the coast of East Africa, Tanzania. Bagamoyo is a place Christianity came in through this Bagamoyo gateway. In 1868, 1868 AD or ACE, one Catholic priest, Father Anthony Horner, came in with his other two European colleagues. They came in from Zanzibar. They went in 1867 and introduced Christianity there, Roman Catholicism. A year later, they came in the mainland. And from there, or from here to Bagamoyo, then they spread the religion. Now, one thing I want to inform you is that the aim of Christianity, the Roman Catholicism, it was not making Africans know about God or about heavens. No, we knew about it. Our ancestors knew about God. They knew about heavens and all that. They knew, they had a concept even of angels and all that. Of course, what they didn't know was about hell. There was no concept of hell, going to hell. No, that they introduced, yes, which is very bad though, because as we know, God is a loving God. So what I want us to know is that we need to change something. Now, whatever we see, whenever any statement comes from somebody, if he's a leader, government leader, or social leader, people just judge it by the perspective of his or her religion. Is he a Muslim? Is he a Christian? So this is what I want us to stop. Because before these religions, as I said, just very recent, just introduced to us very recently, less than 150 years. But it's controlling us now. As if we can't think, we can't act beyond religion. So, let us know this. We are people. So humanity must control us, not religion. We had, and we still have, our traditional leaders, the kings and queens. We call them chiefs now, which is very sad. We still have them in most places in Africa. And in Tanzania, I'm 100% sure that there is even an organization for the union of the Tanzanian. They call them Tanzanian chiefs. Yeah, I call them kings. Let us dignify them. Let us give them their dignity. They are the real rulers. They are the real people for the people. Yeah? They don't go political. They don't have any political affiliations or religious affiliations. So for them, they look at humanity. They look at our culture. So their job, their assignment is to make sure the culture does not vanish. And this is very important because this is what connects us to the heavens, or if I might say, to God. So they must give an endorsement on any issues. We, the United Kingdoms of Africa, are seeking the union, the real union, it is federation, call it anything, of the African kings and queens. But charity begins at home. As I'm in Tanzania, so in Tanzania, let us observe this. Yeah, we have a United Republic of Tanzania. But sadly, even before it came Tanzania, we had Tanganyika and Zanzibar. But Tanganyika was made in German. Yeah, it's like a brand, a product made in Germany. When they sat, 13 countries, European countries, sat in Berlin, what they call Berlin Conference. They sat down there, and the Chancellor von Bismarck was the chairman. He was a German. They decided to divide this continent, beautiful, our mother Africa, into pieces, giving themselves each one a few pieces. So we, Tanzania, we fall under the chairman. Dutch Ostafrika. But then it was with this Rwanda and Burundi. They had to use religion to control us because they know we Africans are spiritual people. So they decided, in order to control us, let's go through religion. So they introduced religion, Roman Catholicism, then later, of course, these other religions came in, other denominations. But their aim was trade and control. Now, when we know this, yes, I don't say let us abandon religions, no, but let us be in religions, but understanding exactly what was the aim of introducing this to us. This will help us now to come again back to ourselves, to humanity, where we were before, when we were united, really united. We had our tribes, yes, and we have them, and we should cherish them. Tribes must not be denounced. Tanzania alone has got 123 tribes with their languages, with their writings, with their stories about them. So this must not be looked down upon. And that we suggest, we as the United Kingdoms of Africa, we suggest that even when we are doing these elections, political elections, and we need to make sure the endorsement comes from these kings, the chiefs, the kings and queens. And by divine intervention, Tanzania, I don't say we are lucky, but this is a divine intervention. The president is the paramount queen, Hangaya, Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan, the president of the United Republic of Tanzania. So let us use this, take it as an advantage that in her rule, in her reign, let us restore kingship and queenship. And let us involve them in all decisions. When we have these district commissioners, regional commissioners, we need to make sure they are also part of the government. Because for them, they know the values of the people. So let us use them. Make sure this happens very soon. And in Tanzania, people are talking about having changes in the constitution. And when this happens, let this matter be addressed. Yeah. And we suggest, because we say, why should I have in Mwanza a district commissioner who comes from Songea, who comes from Lindi? Why do you have a regional commissioner from Twara coming from Kagera? When you have someone who is an indigenous to the place, it makes it easier because he values the place. He knows exactly what is important to the people. This will help us when we talk about environment. So these are the people who will know the environment of the place because they come from the area. That's where they have been raised. So I make it brief, but what we are looking at is the proper union of the people. Because when the Germans came, they didn't even have consent, ask for consent to the people, to call them Tanganyika. They just squashed them, and they drew lines and made them regions and districts, without even looking at their cultural diversities. That's why even you find here and now, there are some Luos in Kenya, some Luos in Tanzania. So they just divided according to what they wanted. And as I say, it was just ruling. So they made sure these kings and queens, we call chiefs, they made sure they watered them down so that they don't have control. Even actually the Germans were even much better. They let them have a role, but the British didn't want that. And that's how they won us. And that's the catastrophe which we are in now. Now we need to revive this. And this is not going to end in Tanzania. We want all of Africa to have a united Africa, United State government of Africa. But it must come from the people. the consent of the people, of the kings and queens. So we shall continue having these talks, and let us start the dialogue. When you hear this message, share with a friend, talk about it. Yeah? So we shouldn't just deal in religions, but let's go back to our culture, to our tribes. Yeah. So we make sure whenever there is leadership anywhere, we make sure at that place a cultural leader is there. And local gender must also be advocated. Because in Africa, we valued female and male. So we need to have, everywhere we have a female leader. And as I'm saying, this is a divine intervention. Tanzania has a female president. Yeah. So we need to make sure this happens everywhere. Yeah. We make sure all the tribal leaders are there. We make sure female and male are there. And if need be, we make sure all these the big two religions, the Christianity and Islam, are there. Because now it's not easy to wipe it out, because it has already gone so deep into our lives. But what we don't want is having a Muslim leader, then people say, oh, this has been decided by the Muslim. Or we have a Christian leader, they say, oh, this has been decided by a Christian. So if we say now we can't abandon that, let them be together there. When a chief, a head is a Christian, then the deputy must be an Islam. If a head is a Muslim, the deputy be a Christian. So that we don't want these things to happen to Sudan and Ethiopia, a great nation like Ethiopia. Even the African Union meeting started there. But now the country has been separated. You look at Sudan, look at Nigeria. We don't want this thing to happen. So let us stick together. Let us know our problem. And now this is a suggestion for a solution. It's making sure we know our differences now. So let us make sure religion does not divide us. I know the white man, they decided to do this, what we call divide and rule. So they divided us into religions now and all denominations and all that. And they brought things they call democracy. But look at countries like in Arabia. They don't have this thing you call democracy. They have a king, the monarchy, but they're doing fine. So let us not just think, oh, this democracy thing, and no, even in England themselves, they had a queen for 60 years. Now they have a King Charles III. He's the overall, and they're doing fine. So let us value and adore our kings and queens, we call chiefs, machifu. Let them have their space. Let them do their assignment, God-given assignment. And from there, we shall prosper. Let us not just think about things, material things, but humanity, utu, ubuntu. This is what God wants. God definitely blesses people who value humanity, not things. Talking about bandari, talking about minerals, mafuta, miti and ardhi. Yeah, land is there. We are Africans, especially me. When I say I'm an African, I don't love Africa because I live in Africa. No, because Africanism is in me. Even when I'm in England, even when I'm anywhere else, I'm still African. So I can be without that land and not on that land but I still belong to it. But I need to value my fellow Africans. So let us value each other. Ubuntu is the main thing.
And as I said, that this is a divine intervention by having the president being the paramount queen, Hangaya Samia Dr. Suluhu Hassan. This is not good luck. This is definitely the Almighty's decision. Let me give you at least one example. You know, all along in Tanzania, when people wanted to address rallies, or whether political meetings, whether they're government gatherings, all leaders and all people used to greet the public by giving these religious greetings. They say, Bwana asifiwe, tumsifu Yesu Kristu, assalamu alaikum. What has these greetings have to do in these political and government meetings? This is what I said. It's like we are just, remotely controlled by religions. But look at what she did. As soon as she started leading the country, sown into power, she changed. And she's saying, Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania. People say, kazi iendelee. You see? But I see even some people have not yet noticed this. They still use it. So let's stop that. Let's follow the example of our Hangaya, the president. Yeah, this is good. Let me challenge you on this. We have people who are not Christians and who are not Muslims. For instance, we've got a good number of Tanzanians who are Hindus. They don't greet themselves, they greet each other by salam alaikum, because most of them, when they see Indians, they think they are all Muslims. No. Most of them are Hindus. And they say, Hare Krishna. So when you just say salam alaikum, Bwana asifiwe Yesu Kristu, that means you are putting them aside. Yeah? So that is sort of a racist thing. But what the president just introduced is the best. The Republic of Tanzania, let the work continues. Like those freedom fighters were saying, Haluta continua. So this was saying, so work continua. And that is the best. So these things, we need slowly, or not slowly, quickly, we need to get rid of them. Segregations and divisions by religions is something nasty. We are all Tanzanians. Yeah. So, what I like is, when you are in Bukoba making a rally, you can say, Mwasiba Muta, because 95% of them are higher. Mwadira, that's not bad. But dividing people, the concept of their religions is very dangerous. And as I said earlier, we have seen these things causing havoc. Yeah. So, I praise so much the president for introducing this national greeting. Yeah. Like the national anthem. The national anthem does not speak about Jesus and Muhammad. No, it just says Mungu. Mungu ibariki. So it's about the Almighty God. So that is one of them. And I urge you, leaders from all levels, because when I speak as a chair of the United Kingdoms of Africa, I want us all to focus on this. We are being marginalized. Look at all this, the currencies we use, the values determined in Europe. Yeah. All what we do is determined by Europe, which is our competitor. Because Europe is a continent, America is a continent, Africa is a continent. So we should not let these other competitors decide for us what to do. We need to decide ourselves. I know it's happening now slowly. Things that we have had, and we are hearing some presidents now making sure that we need to decide. Stop these things of visas. Somebody coming from Congo needs a visa to go to Tanzania. Yeah. I had President Ruto, said it clear. He said he was in a meeting, but he said, from now, take it on record. Any African national, just come and get a visa at the airport. So these are things which are starting to happen now. So now, we the Tanzanians, let us also do it quick. Yeah, we do trade, intertrade, African trade. So what we want at the end of the day is to have one Africa governance. Yes, and I know it's going to happen. So, ladies, and I don't want to say ladies in Australia, I want to say sons and daughters of Mother Africa, let us take heed and make this happen earlier, faster than it is expected. So, I thank you so much for listening and watching. But I just want to drop something on you. Yes, we have this, as I'm saying, two major religions. But from my historical records, when the Muslims came, the Arabs actually, they came earlier than the white men, the Europeans. Yeah, their aim, as I checked well, was not to rule and control and bringing religion. It was trade for them. They were attracted by business. But then, of course, religion came in because people definitely got interested and, in their religion, and then they started convincing people. But I say the Christians, I'm sure, they were even being funded by the colonials, making sure they change all our traditional behavior, all our cultural issues. Yeah. So they made sure, and especially the British, that our kings and queens are no longer important. Our traditional health care is no longer important. So we had our people who were looking after us on the spiritual part of it. But they made sure it should be done for. And even as I'm talking today, when you hear preachers, priests, pastors, they always say, achana na mizimu. They tell us to abandon our ancestors. Yeah? We shouldn't abandon our ancestors. Because for them, even in the churches in Tanzania, you see they say, hey, the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Isaac and Abraham are the ancestors. But let me say, when somebody does something good, you need to praise them. On this issue of achana na mizimu, the Muslims are good. They never speak such a word. They never give such statements of achana na mizimu. They adore their ancestors. And even these traditional practices, things we call TAMBIKO. We have Idi ya kuchinja. So there are some traditional rituals which they still cherish. For that, I just wanted to drop this down that it is Christians who are messing us up. But Muslims, no problem. Yeah, they do this sacrificial offering. Even in their homes, when you get a baby, you slaughter a cow, you slaughter a goat. And when you go to Mecca, there is this special hijjah. Yeah, they announce publicly, this is hijjah ya kuchinja. And that is very important because even in the Bible, in the book of Exodus chapter 12, we read it there. It looks like through Moses, God told them to do this sacrificial offering, Passover, PASAKA. They said you need, so they slaughtered cows and all that blood, they put it all over the doors. And that is, as we read, that's what made them get out of slavery. They call it slavery for 400 years. But now, and they're told on the last verses on chapter 20, that chapter 12, they said, do it as a lasting ordinance. Ni ya milele. Amri ya milele. And that's why the Israelites are still doing it. But we are telling ourselves, pastors and bishops telling us to stop that. But the Muslims on that, they're good. So and even on the mosque there, just front of the mosque, you find traditional medicine. But you don't find them in churches because they say, oh, Waganga. You see? I just wanted to drop also this on you, that please, my fellow Christians, let us change our behavior towards our ancestors and our tradition. Are their ancestors. So how about our ancestors? How about Katega II, Barakulira? We abandon them, and this is part from my research. This is another issue which is pushing us down. So let us cherish our ancestors, because when you look down upon your ancestor, then you are already getting ready also to be denounced, because your grandson will also say, abandon him or her. So this is another area where, of course, when you continue following in our YouTube channel, United Kingdoms of Africa, you will get more and more, and let's all restore our tradition. That's why we have, because imagine, why do we have a Minister of Culture? The Minister of Culture definitely is doing with culture. So you can't do culture when the king and the chief, or we call them, the chiefs, the queens and kings, are not in shape, are not in place. They need to be also in these council meetings, decisions making. So let's do this, my brother, my sister, and we shall definitely go well. Kazi itaendelea. And this is what we want. And I'm insisting when we are doing this, because people are talking about now new constitution or that, make sure all these things are addressed. Our education system must have this cultural issue in there. That's when people will be patriots, wazalendo. It comes from there. He needs to know where he comes from or she comes from. He needs to know his or her tribe, the foods they need to eat. But now we are being fed by Europe. Everybody is eating fried food, chips, burgers, and all that. Yeah, but when you know, oh, we have cassava, muhogo, we have all other different types of our local traditional foods and trees, actually. We need to bring back our trees. There are some trees which are divine, not for fruit or anything else, but they have this, we call it static energy. Yeah. So please make sure you continue following up what we say, so that one time, very soon, we have the United Africa. Thank you for listening. Yeah, we shall continue to have these dialogues, talks. This is the beginning, and let's carry it on. Thank you for tuning in.
Tuungane na Prince Katega wa Pili kwenye harakati za kuikomboa fikra ya Mwafrika ili tujitambue. Afrika yetu ni moja. Ndugu zangu, kwa nini tukubali igawanywe katika vipande? Tuungane pamoja, tujenge Afrika moja kama ilivyokuwa zamani. Mungu ibariki Afrika.